Duke, I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
That's right.
Nice to have you back in our area. How have you been?
Well, pretty good. I've had a bad year. This hasn't been my best year for health, but everything's all right. Isn't that a nice ad?
Very nice, very nice. But you're feeling pretty fit now?
Yeah, I feel fine.
Well,
coming out of it, you know, takes time.
Yes. This picture, you refer here to the ad, the Shootist. What, you know, Duke, your career now, 46 years you've been a major motion picture star, right?
And but I've been in it longer than that.
I know, but I'm saying 46 years to be a major motion picture star. And you'll remember when a number of press people, myself included, we came down to the bayous of Louisiana when you were shooting The Undefeated. And we sat there and we celebrated your 40th year as a major motion picture star. I don't know if you've ever seen this book. Have you ever seen this, The Pictorial History of the Western Films?
No, that's a new one.
Well, there's one whole area here that's devoted exclusively to John Wayne. And this picture right here, the big trail, 1930, that was the beginning of it all.
We made it in 29, yeah.
Yeah, released in 30, I guess. Yeah. What do you remember about that?
Well, that fella sitting right between Ian Keith and John Wayne is Tyrone Power Sr. That's Tyrone Power's father, who was a top Shakespearean actor of his day. And they brought him out to play the heavy.
Is it true that before that you were really a singing cowboy? Or they weren't?
No, this is the very first picture that I was in.
When did
this picture was made with the widescreen process. And you see the year it was released,
1930.
Well, it required the theater to put in new screen and all new equipment in the projection room in those days, because they hadn't invented the squeeze lens for the wide film. So as a consequence, I guess maybe 10 theaters in the country played it, I don't know. Because it was right in the middle of the Depression. You know, they were breaking up the furniture out in the streets and building the fires and selling apples. So it got off to a bad start. And then Fox put me, I think the next picture, I should have been playing on the national championship football team in 1928. So the next picture they had me in, they had been training some girls to play basketball for some musical that they were going to make that would cost a lot of money. Now, with the Depression, they've decided against it. So now they have these girls that have learned to play basketball. So they write a story about a college in which the boys don't want the girls there. They want it to be they don't like a coeducational school. So it was probably as ridiculous a thing as I've ever been in. The girls and boys were sitting in the trees and leaning out of the windows of the building in each other's clutches, leaving lipstick all over. I mean, you just could not believe it. Well, I remember that printer decided me to get out of the business altogether. I can remember I was going down the street just talking to myself, thinking, geez, how am I going to face... You know, most of my friends were still kids in school. I hadn't met motion picture people outside of Ford and Raoul Walsh. They were the picture business, but I mean, I didn't... The social circle that I went in was not that. And I just didn't think I could face my fraternity brothers if they saw this picture. But luckily they put me in those quickie westerns, and I developed a beautiful life then for about 10 years of hunting from September to March and doing the 4.5 and 5 day pictures.
You know, in here, in this evolution of a star is what your segment is called, John Wayne. Another picture is Somewhere in Sonora, and then Stagecoach, of course. New Frontier, Tall in the Saddle. She wore a yellow ribbon, the Comancheros, True Grit, of course. Obviously, they couldn't, you've made some 300 pictures, they couldn't include even a small percentage of them. But what do you wish they had included here that they haven't? What have they missed that you wish they'd included?
Well, I think The Searchers probably, and Red River, The Quiet Man.
They are mentioned in
Wake
the
of the Red
commentary,
Witch.
just not in the
I don't
picture.
know. This everybody, everybody has a certain feeling about themselves in pictures.
Do you feel that there was any particular period in time, Duke, when it was better than another time, or you liked the pictures better than another time? Would the 50s be better than the 60s, or the 40s?
Well, actually, I think from the time I was 45 up to the big C, I was completely, I had matured as well as physically. I'd matured mentally. I enjoyed my business. I enjoyed a tremendous amount of success. And I felt great. That's, so I'd say from 40 to about 55, I think, were my best years.
You won the Academy, of course, for True Grit. Do you wish you'd won it for something else, or are you happy you won it for that?
That is a night that we in the motion picture business have a chance, the only chance we have to meet a gunfighter that was going to die that comes to this little town, and you see all the prototypes of today, and each one of them were interesting, either humorous, amusing, or tragic, or pathetic. And I felt that we could get a good picture out of it. And I talked to Mr. Frankovich and explained to him that I would not work, in some of the scenes that were full of smut and in bad taste. And we had a meeting with Mr. Siegel and the writer and Mike, and we decided that we'd just take the story line and just go through it, and every week meet and have a communal point of view set up, and then let the writer go ahead. And we did, and I think it worked out.
Big appeal for you in this picture, Duke?
Well, when I read the story, I thought it was a little too like the present-day tendency of pictures, to go overboard to show that it was real, and the swearing and the smut, and the bad taste in how it was handled. But there was a good story in the fact that it was about...
The story deals with, of course, the last 8 days of a man's life.
That's right.
He finds out at the beginning of the film that he has cancer and he has a very short time to live. And people, regardless of whatever we might say here, are going to try to and will draw that personal comparison to your own
portray it
life.
as my own life. But, if the Cancer Society hadn't done so much advertising the last 10 years, they would be saying a man dying of TB, probably, That's what it used to be. But this is a little different story than the average run, and there are great relationships between. I think that they get inside of the two, Bacall and Wayne characters, and Jimmy Stewart is magnificent as a doctor. Boone comes along out of friendship and did a thing for us, and so did Hugh O'Brien. But the surprise and the delight of this picture is little Ronnie Howard, who is in Happy Days. He is so good. I don't think I ever worked with a better actor. And he really spurred the pros on to doing a better job than they normally would have. I certainly enjoyed working with him.
Was it depressing at all to work with that kind of a story theme?
When you look back at it, you'll see that I think twice the word cancer is mentioned. And the rest of the time, there's a hint of the fact that he's fading away, but outside of that, it's, they didn't pour it on and have me have the, screaming scenes of pain and torture. I think it was well handled and good taste. And pray for in every picture that I'm in.